the gist of it. I've explained a little bit more detailed in my book. Yeah, so that's the reason why I bring in the creative. I highlighted about the creative powers, manifestation, and dissolution. And about meditation, why I spoke about smoking and drinking. Okay, it's not only about smoking and drinking. Meditation helps to overcome any kind of compulsive behaviors without we putting in much of effort. Sometimes we put too much strain in ourselves. Okay, today I'm going to stop with 2 drinks, 2 glasses of wine. So after we went to the party, we have 2 glasses of wine, and then we go back home, we're lying on our bed, we are thinking, oh my God, man, I should have taken a bit more. I can't sleep. I should have drink more, but my girlfriend was there in the party. She stopped me from drinking, So we start to think about all this stuff. But the desire is still there, disturbing us somehow. And then we are always, we stop our drinks, but then we are thinking about it all the time. So what does meditation do? Meditation helps to bring in awareness in our actions. So when why are we craving for more wine? The more wine, okay, suppose we drink 2 glasses of wine, but we want to drink more and more and more. The reason is because we are doing it unconsciously. But if we are going to bring in some awareness into it, into our actions, we will do it, and we are going to sip every drop of it mindfully. We are going to be more aware. So I'm going to say, I'm saying this: meditation helps us to overcome compulsive behaviors without putting too much strain onto ourselves.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to come to meditation right towards the very end because you've got some very significant chapters there, Murali.
Yeah.
I want to move you on. I want to take you to chapters 7 and 9 because these are very important chapters. And here you're talking about metaphysical sleep being the hometown for pain and suffering. You talk about being trapped in metaphysical sleep. When I looked up at the meaning of metaphysical sleep, I'm led to understand that sleep is a great harmonizer of discordant thoughts. Deep sleep produces a state of consciousness. All earthly thoughts are pushed aside so that a person's soul can listen to the Lord's voice and the messages he's remitting. And very often people emerge refreshed, having had such an experience. Do you believe this? And have you experienced this phenomenon? And is that why you devote chapters 7 and 9 in this book to this area?
Yeah. Okay. Let me explain, John, about chapter 7 and 9. I'll be chapter 7 to 9. I want to highlight about the metaphysical sleep. Okay, metaphysical sleep is simply the opposite of wakefulness, awakening. Yes. So, what is metaphysical sleep? It's the cycles of unconsciousness. Metaphysical sleep would also means not being aware about our dark shadows, our own dark shadows. Metaphysical sleep, the purpose of highlighting bringing in these chapters is I want to highlight that if one is able to comprehend what is happening within them, they're able to comprehend, they exactly know what is happening within them mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, they are aware, they are clear, and they are working on their dark shadows, then their outward vision will be very clear, will be crystal clear. So what is happening, what we see externally is actually influenced by what is happening inside us. So each time if we are in a metaphysical sleep, okay, metaphysical sleep is about the unconsciousness. Because of metaphysical sleep, we function daily with routines, with habits. I know routines are good, habits are good in a certain in a certain angle, but if it's continuously going in a way that is going to cause harm to ourselves and harm to others, that is when the problem arises. So metaphysical sleep, in this chapter, metaphysical sleep, I'm highlighting to the person about the cycles of unconsciousness. You see, it's the opposite of wakefulness. And I'm actually in this chapter 7 on metaphysical sleep. I explain on what is metaphysical sleep. In other words, I've actually highlighted to the audience on why am I suffering?
Right.
Why am I suffering?
Now, you mentioned several times in your little speech there about consciousness. Now, this is very important in this book, everybody, because chapter 18 is headed up as seeds of consciousness. And when you look at this chapter, everybody, it's the introduction to the next 8 chapters. So you say, so seeds of consciousness, because this is a significant chapter, let's talk about it. You say there are many seeds of higher consciousness, but you only touch on 8 in the book. This chapter is a very short one, but it's very significant. Why are you introducing consciousness here? You've touched on it, but there's a link between consciousness, meditation, throughout the whole of your book here. Seeds of consciousness.
Seeds of consciousness. Firstly, consciousness. Before I go into that, I will say consciousness is actually the light that is within us. Okay. In spirituality, there are 2 lights. One, the consciousness is the light within us, and there's another light which is a higher light. In Sanskrit, they would say this as Atma and Paramatma. Paramatma is the higher light and your own light. So if we take away our mind, our body, and we put our soul separately, there will be a light within us. So the more we are moving towards doing inward engineering kind of work, like we go inside deep into ourselves and we self-inquire, self-assess, we tend to get closer to our light and begin the higher, we realize our light within us. That light is consciousness. So consciousness is also means like, okay, if we want to cultivate, okay, we want to realize that light. Okay, the purpose of this book is to help a person realize that light. So if we want to realize that light, there are 2 ways. One, we can daily do our meditation on top of our gratitude, prayers and stuff. So the second part is to cultivate these dynamic and powerful qualities. So these dynamic and powerful qualities are the seeds of consciousness. So if we are practicing this, bringing these qualities into our daily life, we are able to get closer to our life. Okay, what are they? What are they? Simple: gratitude,
all right.
faith.
Let's go into these seeds of consciousness that you talk about in your book. So this is really covering off the next 8 chapters. Now, I'm not going to go in each one. I'm going to pick a few here, but let's talk about them. So you've got the seeds of consciousness. You draw attention to our compassion, faith, forgiveness, letting go, gratitude, love, acceptance and trust, and sensitivity, which you cover off in chapters 19 to 26 inclusively. Just to give the listeners, viewers, an inkling to the area of the book, can we look at faith? Can we have a look at forgiveness and acceptance and trust? Would you be kind enough to explain and talk about those 3 consciousness, seeds of conscious, just to give the listeners a flavor of what you are about in consciousness?
Okay. Let me start with faith.
Yeah.
Okay. Faith. It's about having complete trust on the higher powers. So in this chapter, I guided my readers on how some unpleasant emotions in us hinder our faith. So, and I subtly guided them on how they can be aware about these unpleasant emotions, deal with it, and strengthen their faith. So, the stronger their faith is, their mind will be more. They will develop more clarity, more inner strength, and also faith helps them to overcome obstacles. in their life journey. So yeah, I've highlighted more in detail about that in the book. It's
and
about,
forgiveness and acceptance.
Okay, forgiveness. In forgiveness, because we always come across this. Forgive. Why I brought this word, this seed of forgiveness. It's a very important
It is.
seed. Because we always talk about this when I meet, like for example, I talk to you, John, and then we had a misunderstanding, we had an argument, and then we said, John, I forgive you. So, and John says, really, I forgive you. So that's when we become friends, and then we go have some beers, So, so that is, we tend to,
Absolutely, why not? Yeah.
So, but why I'm highlighting about forgiveness is the most important thing is about it's not about John forgiving me or I'm forgiving John. Of course, that is useful and it helps in our healing and stuff. But if we are looking into finding our inner light, going deeper into knowing about ourselves, raising our higher consciousness, connecting to our higher self, then the first thing we have to practice is self-forgiveness. Every day look at the mistakes that you make and you do reflections, and then what you do is you do some self-forgiveness, because most of us are suffering from guilt, regret, worries, anxiety, a lot of mental and emotional issues that is actually hindering. Even sometimes we sit down to meditate, we close our eyes, and then we are trying to clear these thoughts, but lots of thoughts come. But each time we clear one, another thought come in. We clear one thought, another thought come in. So self-forgiveness, I've highlighted in the book how important is self-forgiveness, and how we could practice that to actually raise our consciousness and connect to our higher self. Yeah.
Brilliant. Briefly touch on acceptance, because I want to move you on here, because I want to go and talk very quickly on to meditation. So acceptance and trust, very briefly.
Okay, very briefly talking about acceptance and trust. Okay, here I'm saying about acceptance and trust is, first thing, whenever we come across any life lessons or any challenges, I'm trying to tell, I'm sending a message to my audience to tell them that do not feel disappointed, do not break down. Instead, have courage to accept what is coming at that point of time and trust the divine intervention. So each time a problem comes to us, we immediately try to struggle and put away the problem, because most of us, we want some relaxation. We do not like problems. When we see a paper, right, we see the word problem, we don't like to see that, it makes us very frustrated. So acceptance, practice acceptance is when we face any challenges, daily challenges in life, accept that, learn from it without any resistance. It's about taking a non-resistive approach, and then embrace that moment, learn from it, learn the life lessons, and trust what the universe is sending you as a message. That actually helps us to grow our consciousness. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, let's get to the end of the book here, where you have dedicated chapters 33 to 35. And this is you, because this is all about meditation. This, everyone, is, it says that, Murali, let's take a bit towards the chapters 33 to 35 inclusive. And here you're talking about meditation. In particular, 3 types of meditation. You're talking about chakra, watcha, and centering. Now, I know meditation means a lot to you. It's very personal, so that's why you put it in here. But can you very briefly tell us all about the 3 different meditations that you use in your life?
Okay. In this chapter, I highlight about the chakra meditation. I taught my readers about chakra meditation. The second meditation I taught them is about watcher meditation. And the third one is centering meditation. Okay, let me explain briefly about the chakra meditation. Chakra meditation is about connecting to the 7 spiritual power points in our body that is actually located at our spine area. So from our base of our spine to the top of our head, there are 7 chakras, which is the 7 power points, which is actually like the switches that is connected to the higher powers. So I'm actually in this meditation, I teach them about